His sister Katie wore an odd expression, sitting at the kitchen table alone, staring at 7 papers. She'd ripped the staple out of them, and it now lay on the table beside an almost empty bowl with a spoon sticking out. There was milk spilled beside it. How could she not see that? It was so close to her arm that if she moved, it would be in the milk, and that wouldn't be good because then she'd have to change her shirt, which was already wrinkled. "Why are you standing behind me, Trevor?" She didn't look up right away, but he watched as she put down the papers, scattering them on the table in a mess instead of straightening them in a pile. He could see the milk still there. She was about to put her arm in it as she rested it on the table and turned to face him. "Aren't you going to clean that up?" he said. He had on his favorite jeans, black ones, and his favorite black superhero shirt, Captain America. Katie was wearing a faded orange shirt with lines and squiggles. He didn't like the lines and squiggles, and the color of orange was annoying. It was the one shirt he wished she'd put in the garbage. Maybe he'd do it for her. "Trevor, seriously, dude, you need to get a life. Aren't you supposed to be helping out Dad today with the cows or something?" Katie pushed the papers aside and scraped back her chair, then picked up her bowl and put it in the dishwasher. She left the spilled milk and the papers, and he cleared his throat before he felt her hand on his shoulder. He had to force himself to look her way, knowing she'd stay there until he did. His mom and dad, Katie, Stephen, and his sister Becky, always said over and over for him to look at them, and it was frankly annoying. Right now there was a thread hanging off her shirt sleeve that she also needed to take care of. "Trevor, you didn't answer me, and you're doing that throat-clearing thing again that's really annoying. Did you eat breakfast yet? What are you doing today?" Her shirt collar was folded correctly on one side but sticking up on the other. He reached over and grabbed the edge of her collar and unfolded it so it sat perfectly just like the other side. "I'm working today," he said. He realized Katie was frowning now. Why? Her hair was pulled back in a high ponytail. At least she wasn't sad anymore. "Did you seriously just fix my collar?" she said. She didn't say thank you. She really should say thank you. "You look better now, but I don't like your shirt. You should change. It's ugly." She just shook her head. "Seriously, Trevor, tell me how you really feel." Well, he didn't like it. He just told her that. Maybe she hadn't heard him. Then she reached over and rustled his dark hair, which was short and neatly combed. "Hey," he said, and all she did was laugh as if it was funny, before she walked around him and picked up the papers in one hand so they were crumpled, not even taking the time to tidy them up so they were neat and together. He reached up and tidied his hair, but he was going to have to go back upstairs to fix it properly. "Where are you working?" Katie said. "Is this the job Mom and Dad were talking about?" She wasn't looking at him anymore, but at those papers again. He wished she'd straighten them instead of holding them in the mess they were in. "Trevor, I asked you a question." "About what again?" "Huh?" he said, smoothing his hand over his hair. She tapped her fingers on the counter. "The job, Trevor. Tell me where you're working today and what you're doing." "The grocery store. I'm working in the bakery department. I get to package cookies, make boxes, and the broken ones he got to put aside and eat later, but he wasn't going to share that part. That was enough sharing, especially since she was ignoring the mess on the table. He walked to the sink, picked up the sponge, and strode to the table to wipe the spot of milk, and then there were the crumbs. "Mr. OCD," she said. "Seriously, Trevor?" He took in his sister and his mom, who appeared distracted as she walked into the kitchen, poured a coffee, and looked from him to Katie. "What's going on?" Emily asked. She was looking at Katie, so maybe he could leave now and fix his hair and then read the New Adventures of Tintin book he'd picked up at the library yesterday. "Just Trevor being Trevor, the neat freak," Katie said. "No, I'm